God. Okay. Well, I'm just going to do the best I can because I'm reading this really for the first time.
I know that it's exhausting.
It's just.
Do you feel emotionally bombed?
Well, no, this is taking me back to like being in high school and like having to read something out loud.
Oh, is this a trigger?
Yeah.
Did you have to do this in high school?
No. Well,
Who
no,
made
not
you
really.
read? Who made you read their diaries aloud?
No, I don't. Maybe it wasn't.
Did you have to read breakup statements? Were you the mitigator or the litigator? Were you the mediator?
I always had to read things to my friends that they didn't know, and I was blasted. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, you were very integral in my own breakup with my ex
Yes.
that I
know,
was dating and I met you through him.
Yeah, our meet cute is actually because of him.
Mm-hmm.
We met on the river. Well, leading up to going on the river. And then, remember that?
That was our first time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I thought a girl always remembered her first time.
Well, apparently I do, but
I don't.
I guess somebody does not.
So it wasn't memorable for me.
Oh.
Was it really the river?
Well, it was at Taylor's house. We were all gathering there.
I know.
It was the night before, and then we went to the river the next day.
I'm very familiar with this time at the river, guys. For those of you who are unfamiliar with river rat culture, in Texas, we float the river.
Yeah, I don't ever do it anymore because I've been burned too many times, but that is how we met.
It sounds like figurative, but then also it's literal.
Yeah, but it's but I mean it in both ways.
Yeah. She's very fair-skinned, guys. She's like Nicole
burn.
Kidman. But if you,
Thank you.
I haven't floated the river in a very long time. Because I travel for work and I live in LA and then here and everywhere, whatever.
Yeah.
But growing up, you trip to the river and it's 5-6 hours. You can choose what length your trip you want it to be, and it just depends on where they drop you off.
Yeah.
You get a tube for your cooler, your beer.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing. It's a lot of fun, but I didn't realize that we met. That was the first time we met,
I think
which is also very interesting because it was the day that we all got minor in consumptions for underage drinking.
Yes.
So what's so wild is, by and large, no one brought any alcohol. There was only one person who brought, I think, a 12-pack of beer.
Okay.
And none of us were drinking. We just weren't because no one really brought anything.
Yeah.
But we pulled over on a little beach area of the river and we all decided to shotgun a beer.
Yeah.
What we didn't realize is that when we got back on our tubes, quickly around the bend, which was blind to us, we couldn't see it. Some would say we were blindsided by this. Okay. The game wardens were in the bushes with their binoculars watching us. And they,
they said, gotcha.
They made the assumption that we had been drinking, but they said it emphatically. So I think that we, just being young and naive, just assumed that they knew. I had shotgunned a beer. I'm, very honest, almost to a fault. Mm-hmm. They asked me if I had been drinking. I could have said no, and I should have said no, knowing what I know now. But I didn't, because I didn't have the wherewithal to understand how they could test if we were drinking, if the breathalyzer could pick it up, when in reality, it takes a second for the alcohol to hit your blood.
Right.
If I had said I hadn't been drinking, I would have been fine. But no, of course, the first thing out of my mouth was, yes, I had a beer. And I immediately I got a ticket for a minor in consumption.
We all did.
And it was $360 to drink for one beer. I mean, the sacrifice.
I remember having to do, and I'm sure you did too, but I did mine with Taylor. I remember having to do a like an alcohol class at UNT. And I remember it was maybe it's because we were trying to get it off of our records. I don't know what it was. Because you go to defensive driving to get it removed from your record.
You go to the class to also take money away. My God, am I an idiot? I can't even say that. To discount.
I don't know what it was, but what I remember vividly is Taylor and I went together and we went because I believe we had to do it in the county that we got the ticket in.
Yes.
And I remember it being a Saturday, and it was OU versus Texas Saturday. And my mom was like, well, that's what you deserve. So I didn't get to watch Texas versus the Sooners. So I was like, this is the worst decision of my life. I don't remember if we won or lost.
I am so sorry.
Guys, it stuck with me. It stuck with me.
This was what, 2008?
Yeah, I guess so. Because we were, 20? It was right before we turned 21.
So this was 2008. We had a listener reach out to us, and it was very visceral for them to listen to us talk about that Texas Tech UT game because they were obviously for UT.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if I remember the message correctly, I about fell out of my chair listening to you guys talk about UT Texas Tech game in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
I was a senior at University of Oklahoma. And I very clearly remember that three-way triangle of Texas Tech beating UT, OU beating Tech, and UT beating OU.
Yes.
And nobody knew who would go to the Big 12 championship. Thus, the end of the BCS and creation of the FBS.
Wow.
I hope to see a good matchup at OU Texas this year. So this was a visceral thing.
Okay, so they were an OU fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Devastation. But listen, I got a little turned on listening to that comment.
You?
Yeah, kind of.
Did your nipples get hard?
Yeah, kind of. Even though I hate the Sooners, but listen, I'm into it.
But you missed the Texas and OU game.
I did.
Again, for our listeners who are maybe don't follow college football, OU and Texas is a big rivalry.
A big rivalry.
Yeah.
And I think I would have to have that listener to reach out to me because I want to recall, because this was back when we had the voting system. I think that Oklahoma went to the championship, and I think they got blasted by Florida State. Not Florida State, Florida Gators with Tim Tebow.
Yes.
But I would have to really think back, because I know that UT didn't go, and I'm 99.9% positive that Texas Tech never went. So
that's also very true.
But yeah. I'm
sorry that you missed the game. And I didn't realize that was the first day I didn't realize that was essentially the first day we met.
Well,
I thought we had met before that.
It had obviously an impact on me that I'm discovering you did not share. You did not carry with you. But now here we are.
Look,
years later.
We bonded over our misuse of alcohol then and our misuse of alcohol now. Okay. This is where we're at. Guys, this is why we're friends.
Yeah.
This is why we're friends.
Gone through a lot.
Speaking of bonding on alcohol, I don't know if that really what that says. It sounds toxic. But none of us are drinking. Well, I speak for myself. Betsy is actually drinking. I am drinking my Red Bull and I'm smoking my vape pen. But you know what? Vices. Okay.
I brought over some champagne.
You did. Why did you bring over some champagne, Betsy?
A little birdie told me that
she had to look up on Apple Podcasts what number episode we were on. Okay, guys, she needed to know.
Only after being asked to go look it up.
She had a feeling. You picked up on an energy, and you were like, "I think this might be our 100th episode,"
and it was.
And you looked up on Apple Podcasts, yeah.
And so I brought over some champagne. I'm the one partaking.
Guys,
so
it took her so long to figure out that we were 100th episode. She thought she had to start from the beginning and work her way up to the top and count. What she didn't realize is that it actually works its way down. That's how unfamiliar
Betsy
is.
I'm dyslexic, and she's using my disability against me.
How dare you? Am I weaponizing?
Okay. Yes.
Look, I'm on a terror these days. You know what I mean?
But yes, it's our 100th episode. Can you believe it?
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe it?
I can. I can't believe it because I've been a part of every episode except for one. You know.
So it's your 99th episode, and it might be my 80th episode for all we know. But collectively,
yes,
our 100th. That's pretty cool.
100th episode.
I wanted to pop this champagne on mic, but here we are.
Missed opportunity.
Lauren seems to feel confident that she can fix it in post. We can add a special effect.
It's unceremonious. Like when somebody does something off camera on accident, because sometimes, as much as people would like to believe that cast members always know that cameras are around, they really don't.
Yeah.
The executive producer and I were just talking about this when we were recapping Roni. And what'll happen is they'll just get very excited because you're living your life naturally, authentically. So much so that you're not thinking, oh, I need to wait until I have a camera on me to do X, Y, and Z, right? Pop a bottle.
Yeah.
Give a ring to my wife because that was unceremonious, we saw on Roni. So, they're just like us, and Betsy just didn't think about it.
Yeah, as I often don't. But
I love how non-excited we are about our 100th episode.
Well, we'll add in some fun music and stuff and we'll get pumped.
What?
I don't know.
What song?
I don't know.
LMFAO?
Maybe.
Not Party Rockers?
Yeah,
Party Rockers
I was going to say Celebration's way too cheesy. It'll have to be something other than that. Don't look at me like that. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. We could do
Celebration? Like, celebrate good times. Come, that?
Yeah. Well, that's what, yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well,
I didn't know that Aaron's boomer energy was going to carry over to the podcast.
This actually is our last episode. We made it to 100 and we're hanging it up, okay?
We decided that this would be the benchmark and we were going to see if we liked it or not, okay? And we decided that once we got to 100 episode, we're going to decide. And we decided after...
Better not.
Well, after reading Lindsay's statement, we quit. Okay?
God.
We're done. We're
tired.
We're not blaming Lindsay. It's not Lindsay's fault that we've quit podcasting.
Yes.
But it just kind of was the tipping off point into the extreme exhaustion of social media, parasocial relationships, and double binds.
Yikes. Oh, yeah.
So,
wow.
Well, in celebration of our 100th episode, should we just get into it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Come on.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Reality Bites, the podcast where we'll deep dive into this week's buzziest reality TV and pop culture happenings.
I'm Betsy, and while I may be 9 to 5 by day, I'm a reality connoisseur by night.
And I'm JJ, a reality TV producer by trade, but my favorite pastime is dishing unfiltered dirt and behind-the-scenes scoop. We'll tackle the biggest and best water cooler moments of the week through an insider lens you won't find anywhere else.
Buckle up, buttercups.
Please don't tell me it's about Tom.
It's about Tom.
This is Reality Bites.
All right, guys, I'm going to read the statement that Lindsay.
I do want to preface this, and
Yes.
you know, I feel like I'm such a lily-livered little bitch, but I was also joking. I want to be very clear because that's another thing with, you know, Bryn and how we're feeling about social media and what people are saying. I have to really delineate that anything that I say, I'm essentially reading myself my Miranda rights. Anything that I say will be used in a court of law, but I want to preface it by saying I was also making a joke.
Okay.
And yes, I recognize it might be at the expense of this statement that Lindsay put out there. However, if you can't laugh at yourself, then who the fuck can you laugh at? All right.
You have to have a sense of humor about yourself. That to me is one of the most attractive qualities in a person.
Yeah.
Okay. I was a C student, so I need you to give me a grain of salt when I read this because
Caesar degrees.
I basically skimmed it and now I'm reading it for the first time live. Here we go. Lindsay says, I would like to start by saying thank you for allowing me the space and time to process my emotions, heal, and grieve the loss of not only my relationship, but my friendship with someone I considered my best friend for 8 years. The last 2 weeks have been the most heartbreaking and emotional weeks of my life. My entire life and future was ripped out from underneath me, and I've had a hard time making sense of it all, with no answers or closure on why. I feel humiliated by how it went down and simultaneously heartbroken that it happened in the first place. My trust has been betrayed, and coming to terms with that has been difficult for me. This was not my decision, and I do not agree with quitting on a relationship at this level without trying everything possible first. I have spent the last couple of weeks finding my own closure and peace. I am forever grateful to my best friends who have not left my side and have been picking up the pieces of my heart and life every day from the fallout. I am still grieving and trying to process all that has happened, but I felt it was important to update you all. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the love and support from my friends, family, castmates, and all of you for carrying me through. Lindsay. Insane.
I think that it's
I'm sorry. I'm going to give myself some kudos, guys, because, you know, that's the most
for you.
That's the most I've read in months.
Yeah.
So thank you, Lindsay, also. Just keeping me on top.
So I want to start off by really asking you as a viewer, especially your POV being probably far more objective than most because you like Summer House.
Yeah.
You're connected to it.
Yeah.
But by and large, I'm the one that kind of propelled you to watch it.
Sure.
So how do you feel about it? Like, given everything, and what's interesting is you and I haven't talked about this at all, really,
We haven't,
at all.
no.
Since Betsy started her new job, we just don't talk as much. It's really upsetting, codependent, and it feels like it's been weeks, but really it's only been
a week.
A week. So
she just can't get enough of me, guys. Okay.
I know that we talked about their breakup a little bit, but since then, it's been a week. We've seen Carl's statement. Now we have Lindsay's statement. I'm kind of curious, like, what your POV on this is. I know the executive producer and I think we're going to hop on the mic and have a little bit more of an open,
like a deep dive
dialogue about this.
Okay, cool.
From a producing standpoint.
Yeah.
But
I gotta be honest. I skimmed over it. I read it. I got the general feel of it. Dare I say this? I might get crucified.
Let me clarify.
Okay.
I think I said Carl's statement. Carl's email that got leaked. Okay, let me be very clear about this. That is not a statement to the press.
Right. This statement from Lindsay comes across very much victim, like she's the victim. And I get it. She is the victim. She got broken up with. She feels blindsided. I don't want to take anything away from her. She feels like from her statement, she was blindsided and she still has no closure. So whatever conversation they had, she has no closure and she has no idea why he did this.
Yeah.
I think we will be able to see that eventually and judge that for ourselves. But she obviously knows all the conversations that are happening out there. She knows that Carl's kind of getting, hung to the cross, lit on fire. And obviously putting this type of statement out there is just going to fuel that fire. And I get that it's clear that she's very hurt. And so I think that I can understand that with her not wanting, excuse me, maybe not wanting to have a lot of understanding about why he might have done this.
Of course. I wouldn't expect her to.
But it just came across a little bit like, woe is me. And guys, that's okay. It's okay to feel that way in a situation like this. But I feel like after 7 seasons, 8 seasons, where are we in Summer House? Something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like I know better. And I feel like I've never in my entire existence of watching Lindsay on screen, I've never really seen her take accountability in any real way. And even though Carl is the one that initiated the breakup and there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of talk on the cameras going up, why did you do this? You wanted to humiliate her. I just feel like even if they have an honest conversation and he maybe presents points, listen, none of us have seen the footage. We don't know what they say, but I imagine he's going to try to provide some type of reasoning as to why he's doing this. She's not accepting it. And I imagine that there's going to be no accountability on her end. And I'm just not a firm believer on what I've seen in the relationship together, that this is a one-way street only. And I just, her statement just completely takes any blame off of herself and puts it onto him because he's the one that ended it and she had nothing to do with it. And I don't know that I can fully buy into that narrative that she's not a part of this relationship. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what she's making it seem. I was perfect. I did everything. I fought. He should have never given up at this part of the relationship. He should have never quit on the relationship. But where's your part in it? I don't know. And I know that is an unpopular opinion out there, but that's where I'm lying right now.
Well, I'm curious about your opinion on this because I think by and large, it's not so much, well, it is so much that he broke up with her, but I think that what's easier to kind of align with and give credence to why this is so horrible is because he did it on camera.
Right,
so
right.
I think
and cameras were down and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I think when you're saying like, we don't know what they said, we don't know what transpired in this conversation. We don't know what the discourse is. So how can we surmise, fact and absolutes when we don't know?
Sure.
Well, the problem is not so much that we don't know, is that the buck stops in the court of public opinion at he, quote, called producers to do this on camera. It stops. No one cares about what was discussed. No one cares about what we could possibly see. Even if they fought all season, which, Craig came out, and I say came out and said, it's not like he called the press. I mean, he was asked questions because they're doing press for Southern Charm, which premieres tonight. He doesn't give too much information, but does fairly say, I think it'll make more sense when you see the season. Okay.
Okay.
But that's not enough for people because even still, the buck stops at he did it on camera. Even if they fought all season, why did he do this on camera? And I think it's very short-sighted in a lot of ways, and people are very dogmatic that it's inconceivable that he did this. There's no room for latitude, right? I think what I have a hard time wrapping my head around is the double bind in all of this. We both want everything on camera, but then we criticize at how it is on camera.
How they go about it.
Okay. For those who were very critical of Rachel, which you and I are very a part of, although we were very fair in pointing out where we could see some inconsistencies and problems, right? Now that the dust has settled a little bit and we saw the shift in how people were perceiving or how people were talking about Raquel, because again, the dust settled along with the cast members. We as viewers had time to think about it and we realized maybe we were being a little too harsh. Okay. If we were to look back on that in hindsight, would we then now wonder if it was right or not to film that one episode that we got of Sandoval, knowing how we now feel about Raquel and that we think that she was manipulated, she could be under some narcissistic abuse? Mm-hmm. Does that shift for you?
No.
Okay.
And I don't mean this to come off the way it is, but I think if people say that, yes, it does shift for them, I don't know that I believe that.
Okay. I think I'm really struggling with this. This is outside of me curious. Like I usually can see both sides.
Yeah.
When I struggle to see both sides, which at times can be very rare, right? It is kind of more of an anomaly. I will go and seek advice and opinions of others. I want them to tell me what I'm missing, right?
Yeah.
I've done that with this circumstance in this situation, and I'm still struggling to wrap my head around why it being on camera is something that, yes, I understand the concept of it being devastating. It does live on, we'll see it. But let's look at it like this. If everything had happened the way that we are led to believe it happened, but it wasn't on camera, would it change our ability to know that they broke up? Would we still be talking about it right now? Would it still be in People magazine? Would it still be all over social media? Would that change if it wasn't on camera?
I don't know. I mean, I would think probably not.
Well, we don't have that scene to see, right? There's nothing for us. There's nothing tangible.
Right.
But we would still know that they broke up.
Right.
The conversations would not change. Right?
Yeah.
So my question is, how is this any more devastating than doing it off camera?
Yeah, and I think...
Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. And I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago where, and maybe even Eeps brought it up. It was either you or Eeps where it's like, what's worse? Him technically, quote unquote, having the cameras go back up and having him film what's happening, or us finding out that they broke up and then us having to wait for the reunion, and the whole reunion is us talking about what happened. Mm-hmm. Because that's what would have happened.
Well, I think that it's easier to live from the POV of moral authority and moral opinion. It is much easier for us to live in the space that if we don't have control as viewers, whether or not something is on camera, we can criticize that somebody chose for it to be on camera, but still participate in watching it because, well, we didn't have anything to do with that. But are you or are you not complicit if you both disagree that it shouldn't be on camera, but watch it? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's what I said.
I just want everyone to...
These people that are complaining, listen,
I want to widen the periphery here.
I don't, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago, I get it. I get morally.
So do I.
I absolutely understand the argument and thinking that it's crass and it's cruel, that with the information that we know, because none of us are in this show, the information we know is that he brought the cameras back up and he broke up with the wrong camera. That's what we know. And I think with that information, yes, we can look at it and say, wow, that's kind of cruel. Why did he do that? But at the same time, guys, there's more to the story that we will see. And also, aren't you going to watch it? That's always what I said. And I'll speak for myself. I'm going to watch it. But I don't want to see her in pain. I've never been a Lindsay stan, but I don't dislike her at any means. I don't want to see her in pain. But
as a viewer, morals and ethics are not tied to whether or not they want to watch it, because there's this idea that because I have no control over this, it's all Carl. It being on camera is wrong, but I'm gonna watch it, and it doesn't matter.
Well, it's like you have to tell people where you stand. I'm against this, and I think it's wrong, but I have to see what happens. You know what I mean? It's like, and then you win both sides.
I don't know. I'd really advise people not to do that because it lends to an ideology that doesn't exist. And I forgot to mention this, but I asked a cast member of mine, a past cast member of mine, and they felt that this should have been done privately. Okay. It should have not been on camera.
Okay.
That's not really a shock to me that a cast member of mine is telling me that. But then I also spoke to other cast members who were like, it is what it is. This is kind of what...
This would be on a reality show.
Correct. And I want to say this, that both cast members have experienced what I think one would perceive as like blindsided or some type of, bamboozlement.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just think you can't win. If it's not on camera, people are going to complain. If it is on camera, people are upset. And I know we've talked about this off mic, that I think people are getting really, really tripped up on that the cameras went back up. I think if this happened in the natural progression of the season, maybe people would feel differently. But I would also speculate that there would be a handful of people out there that are still very upset with Carl. But I haven't seen the Craig interview that you're talking about. But I mean, if he's saying that, watch the season and maybe we'll have a little insight. I'm going to watch the season. I'm going to have a little insight.
I understand why people want to take what he's saying with a grain of salt. He is known as the Rinna Craig.
Oh, I don't, what?
They call him Rinna Craig. Like Lisa Rinna, like Rinna Craig.
Well, I loved Rinna her first few seasons, so maybe I'll...
Because, Lisa's always, let's play a game.
Yeah.
Let's do this,
Let's play a game.
Let's blow it up.
Kathy, you're a whore. Okay, who else wants to go? It's like, okay, wait, what? What kind of game is this? She is the queen of those games, by the way. Who hates whom at this table? And she just sits back and waits for the fireworks.
I will say, because I probably sound a little callous, and I really don't, and that's not my intention, but I am trying to just be very neutral sounding. I do feel very devastated for her. I feel bad. I know what she wanted. We all saw the letter. We all saw the little the dream board that she carried.
Yeah, her timeline.
Her timeline.
Yeah.
Her dream board timeline.
Yeah.
I know what it feels like to want something so much that when you get a taste of it and you're almost there and it gets ripped away from you, it's devastating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Losing a relationship or ending a relationship is very similarly, from a psychology standpoint, from a divorce, from a death, bereavement, grief. I know that this is horrible. I know that this is devastating. But I think that we are lost as a people when we look at it as though only one person is being affected by this. Or if we do recognize that maybe Carl's affected, we don't care. Because he did it. He chose to leave. Mm-hmm. He quit.
Yeah.
We live in a world where we expect men to be open, honest, vulnerable. We want that. We also want them to be our protector and provider. That's a double bind. It puts us in a precarious position where we're both needed as one thing, but we're expected of another. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
We expect to be independent, make our own living, not be taken care of. But we also, as females at times, this is not for everybody, but we're also internally wanting a person who makes more money. We want them to hit status quo. We want them to be alpha. We want them to compete with one another as males. But we also want them at home to be kind, protect, cry, vulnerable, tell us our inner thoughts, let us know how the relationship's going. Then they do that, they're pussies. They're weak.
Yeah.
Carl could have tried. He quit. Mm-hmm. That's my problem.
Yeah. I also think there might be an aspect to this where their entire relationship on screen was perfection, because that's what they wanted to come across. We don't have any issues. It's us against the world. Babe, 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 babe-tastic. We're perfect. They had no conflict on screen except for the one night when Lindsay got wasted and got mad at Carl for not defending her for X, Y, and Z. I can't even remember what it was with Danielle or someone. He didn't defend the relationship or something. And Carl's like, I'm just going to bed. That was the only conflict they ever had on screen. And I think that is also kind of going into the narrative that, like, what the fuck happened here? Because they were so protective of the relationship, they didn't really show arguments, which, let's be honest, guys, they, I'm sure, had conflict and arguments. They did not show that on camera. They did not. Because I think they were so worried about everyone else thinking that this was a PR fake relationship.
Sure.
I don't think you and I thought that. No. We thought it was a real relationship. But I think they were so consumed with thinking that people are thinking this is fake. We must perceive that we are happy, we are committed, and we are in love with each other. And I think what that did to their detriment is it didn't show them as a real couple. Real couples have arguments. Real couples have disagreements. They have conflict. We didn't see any of that. So now when we come and there's a breakup, we're kind of like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
But I am interested to see what happens on this season, because I have a feeling there's going to be a little bit more, cracks in the wall or whatever the saying is. But what's the cracks in the attic? I don't know. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's going to be chinks in the armor.
Thank you. Thank you. See, that's why I need you here.
So there's a couple of things I want to hit on, and then we can transition to the afterlife.
Okay.
So I do want to point out that, I want to point out, I probably have said this on an episode before, but it's not something that I know that we like hit home or we really talk about on the podcast. But there is one hard and fast rule, and I say it's a rule. It's not a rule that you're going to get in trouble for, but it's one that I say that you need to hold yourself accountable for, that cast members they fail at, or they think that they know better.
Yeah.
If you protect your significant other, and when I say protect, I mean never actually talk about problems in the relationship, never actually, go beyond the surface of what could be and would be. It's usually what I call, and what, executive producers called, behind the scenes producing, right?
Okay, yeah.
But when it is applied to relationships that are not doing well or have problems, it goes one of two ways in the fallout. What happens is you either, like you said, the audience doesn't know what actually is. So our perception is usually probably wrong because we are putting the blame and the fault on one and not the other. I can't blame the audience for that because we only have what we have to see, right?
Right.
Their POV is purely based off of what they know. It is not designed for them to know what goes on behind the scenes. Now, that's shifting. It's a whole other conversation. But my cast members are culpable in that. They are responsible for telling their truth. If they don't, what's going to happen is what I believe we're seeing right now. We don't know that they fought. We don't know that they had problems because the only season that we've seen, Carl protected Lindsay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they protect each other in a way? Yes. But if I'm just looking at this, what I think that Carl is responsible for, culpable for, and he has to take responsibility for, and the onus was on him, was protecting Lindsay and never actually talking about what the problems were.
On camera.
Yeah. Because when we get to the reunion, we find out they get into a fight.
Oh, that's right.
So monolithic.
That's right.
That he drives, and we talked about it.
He leaves her
3 hours from the Hamptons back to the city in the middle of the fucking
Oh my God.
night.
I forgot about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, to remind everybody, driving from, Montauk, East Hampton, just the Hamptons period.
Yeah.
Back into the city is an epic proportion. Like it is a feat.
Yeah.
It is long. It is far. It's not something you just like in the middle of the night. You're like, I'm just going to do that real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just not, smart. He did that. That's how bad their fight was. So was Lindsay blindsided, or was Lindsay willfully blind? Yes. God, Jesus. Let me ask you. So was Lindsay blindsided, or was Lindsay willfully blind?
Right.
Or are we just going to assume that there was never, why are we automatically assuming that Carl never tried to have this conversation?
Yeah. Yeah.
If we know him to protect her and protect their relationship during season 7, why would we not think that he would try to protect the relationship in season 8, try to have these conversations off camera, okay, before he did it on camera? He didn't exhibit that in season 7, so why would we think he would do that in season 8?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
what would shift all of a sudden? He goes from a man who wants to protect the relationship and protect his girlfriend and the perception at all costs, to what? A man who just all of a sudden wakes up one day and goes, I'm going to humiliate.
It just doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up
for me at all. So I mean, that's why I'm really curious.
I just want people to open up their eyes a little bit.
I mean, it could be very well possible that they had conversations. I mean, we don't know, y'all. We don't know, but I just don't believe that he did this to humiliate her. Now, it doesn't mean that she wasn't humiliated. I mean, that's still devastating and upsetting, but I don't think that was his main purpose, was to humiliate her. Maybe it was a last-ditch effort to say, I better do this on camera because I don't know what else to do. I mean, who fucking knows? Who knows?
Well, you and I talked about this a little bit off mic, but I wonder if, he tried to have these conversations with her.
Yeah.
And based on what I've seen, especially in season 3, when they first started dating the first time and they go on their first date.
Oh yeah. The worst first date ever.
Yeah. It starts off really like fun and you're encouraged. And we get to the part of the day where they're trying to they're just trying to kind of get the finger on the pulse of like where they stand with what they want in the future, just period, categorically. Mm-hmm. So Lindsay, I think, is kind of giving like boilerplate, you know, she wants this, she wants that, she wants commitment, and, you know, Carl's like, okay, well, this is our date. You saying that is, I'm going to ascertain that that's an expectation that if we continue to date, that's an expectation that I would have to meet.
Yeah.
And she says, no, it's not.
Okay.
So then he's like, but yes, it is. And he tries to explain to her on date 1 that he loves her. They're best friends, but it does cause for pause and trepidation because of what he's experienced with his parents, what I call gray divorcing, or that's what they call it. When you get divorced, you're older, that, you know, and it kind of just like shape shifts your entire existence, right? His mom had just gotten divorced like the year before. I don't think the divorce was final. He's telling her he is afraid of commitment. He's afraid of the future and relationships because now he's questioning what relationships even are. And she says, that's an excuse. That's an excuse. And you're just scared.
It's a reason. It's a reason.
And he says, no, I have a fear of commitment. And she goes, I have abandonment issues and I don't have a fear of commitment. So why do you have a fear of commitment? That's an excuse. You're not working hard at this. You are not allowing yourself to move past your fears.
Yeah.
He gets very upset with her and is like, what the fuck are you talking about? I am telling you, this is how I feel. And you are dismissing me. Mm-hmm. Her response is, why are you yelling at me? So we have, thank God, we have some type of historical knowledge. Even if the circumstances are a little different, we know what it looks like for him to try to do that.
Yeah.
What did it look like? First date.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Denial. She denied his feelings.
Yeah.
Right?
It bulldoze.
But she expects him to understand that she doesn't have a fear of commitment. Mm-hmm. So, you know?
Yeah.
Guys, it's tricky. And executive producer and I are going to talk about this even more because
y'all are going to dive
we're
deep.
Struggling.
And listen, I hope we don't come across as like Lindsay haters or anything like that, because that's not what
sucks.
That's not what we believe. We said this weeks ago. Like, we want her to be happy. We want her to have whatever she wants and whatever she deserves. But I just don't know that I fall on the pattern of Carl's a hideous human being and he's worse than Tom Sandoval and he deserves to burn in hell. Like, I can't ride for that narrative because to me, there's always more to the story. And lucky for us, guys, we're going to get more to the story coming. Summer has 2023/24, maybe.
He chose himself. That's disgusting. You work it out. You stay. You stay. You know?
Oh, God. You don't ever have to stay, guys.
Why do we empower and call women heroes for leaving relationships that are toxic and bad and don't serve them? But when men do it, they leave them at the altar. They pull the rug from underneath them. They're disgusting. How could you have done this to her? You knew what she wanted and you still did this to her. But women,
it's situational.
It's double standard. It's a double bind and it's problematic.
This particular situation, I think it's easy to jump and really want to pick sides because I think our society just in general, we love to be on a side. And I get it. We want to have an identity. The fear of the unknown is so scary. So we want to pick a side. Mm-hmm. But I think for this, we just need to kind of wait. We need to wait and see. And
we do. Guys, you know, we get really excited to work on these shows. We want you to wait to see it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, to think that we're in a world where people are like, this is worse than Ariana and Sandoval, because Ariana and Sandoval, they were on a trajectory. They weren't going to last. They had problems.
I'm in high school all over again in math class. I don't understand. Why are the letters numbers? I don't understand what's happening here. I don't get that at all.
Miss you, friend. Miss you.
I did see that.
I mean, he's such a narcissist.
But I love it. Miss you. Just the letter U.
Well, because he can't fully commit. Talk about somebody who really can't really commit. He can't commit to spelling out Y-O-U.
Do we think in any special universe that Tom Sandoval has reached out to Carl and said, don't worry, man, it's going to be okay. Look at me. Do you think they've had any text exchanges?
I hope not. I think that would make Carl feel worse. He's like, when I'm existing and this man is telling me that we're in this together, I mean, yeah.
And also, like, on a serious note, not to make light of this at all, also, Carl is very, very early into his sobriety. This is why they tell people not to get into serious relationships a year in. And I also just, like,
they really heavily advise it.
Feel the way you want to feel, pick a side, defend Lindsay, do it, baby, do it. But also understand that Carl's a human And Carl's on the receiving end of this. And regardless if Carl's the one that initiated this and wanted to break this up, he didn't do it with a light heart. Like, this is also an engagement that he wanted to be in. He obviously wanted to marry her at some point. This was not easy to walk away from, even if he's the one that walked away from it. So let's also just kind of take a breath and understand that this is a human, and I just kind of hope he's okay. I never worried about Sandoval because he's narcissistic and he'll pull himself up. But, like, I'm kind of a little worried for Carl, and I hope he's okay.
They're both responsible for this relationship.
Yeah.
They're both responsible for it ending. Carl's not any less or more responsible than Lindsay, and vice versa. Okay? Right. There is no Machiavellianism happening here. And I really hope that people can disabuse themselves from that ideology.
Well, guys, what if they got married and he had an affair? How would we feel about him then?
Why did he get married to her if he didn't want to be with her?
Yeah, it's just like there's no winning.
I know.
I just want everyone to maybe lead with a little bit more kindness and understanding that, like, these are actual people. I get that, like, and like Lauren and I come on here and we make fun and we do things, but, like, you know, I mean, they're people at the end of the day, and I want everyone to be okay, and that's including Lindsay. I want everyone to be okay.
I want everyone to be okay. I want everyone to go to grief counseling.
Yes.
I'm serious. I want everyone to go to therapy immediately.
It's a privilege to go to counseling. It's a privilege to be able to go to therapy. If you're able to, do it.
I want Carl and Lindsay to both go to therapy right now. Both of them.
Together or individually?
Individually as people.
Yeah.
This is not easy to do. This happening in the public eye is not an easy feat.
Oh, I understand. So.
Well, guys.
Wow. Talk about something not easy.
I know.
Lisa Barlow loses her ring. Shall we get into it?
So did Taylor Swift, but yes, let's get into it.
Oh, that's right. Or she broke her ring, I think. Well, I don't know that I was prepared for this episode to be supersized. Were you? It took me back to Vanderpump, and honestly, I was a little scared.
I wasn't ready for it to be supersized either.
Yeah.
My mind's going to a joke that I won't tell, but I just feel like...
What a tease.
You know, I mean, I'm sure people out there, our listeners, have had, you know, a dalliance, a one-night stand, if you will. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you're just left a little ill-prepared when it's just a little bigger than you thought. You know what I mean? You're just like, I don't know what to do. I wanted this so badly, and now we're here, and I don't really know... How do I unwrap this? You know what I mean?
How do I wrap it?
Exactly. Is it fit for size? Does this work?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yes.
And yeah, I felt that. I honestly, I didn't, well, it's not like I knew because I watch it on Peacock.
Yeah, same.
Which is part of the problem why we're all not working. Is that we're only watching it on Peacock and we're not giving ad sales their due diligence. But anyway, I didn't know, and I don't watch promos, and usually they'll be like, supersized episode, whatever. So I pushed play. Mm-hmm. I pushed play, and I just quickly glanced down and I was like, oh, it's 54 minutes. I was like, not annoyed that I had to watch 54 minutes or anything like that. But my head immediately went to, so it's a 4-hour episode. Mm-hmm. It's a 4-hour podcast episode. Because the supersize really, that the extra, 10 minutes really just kind of fucks with us.
It does. It really does.
Well, I was not prepared. Also, real quick, before we really get into the recap, there is some other news in the Salt Lake City universe.
What?
Okay. So Jen Shaw has become confidants and close friends, AKA prison bitches, with Elizabeth Holmes.
What?
They're bonding. They're trauma bonding in prison. They're prison bonding.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Now
I'm kind of into it.
2 power tops.
Okay.
Do we think that Heather Gay is jealous? Do we think she's like, I used to be the pillow princess in this relationship, but now I'm cut out? We thought prison cut her out, but really she feels even more so. Like, do you think that she is feeling a certain type of way? Will we find out about the black eye now that we know that Jen Shaw and Elizabeth Holmes are close? Does Heather now feel wronged? Will she come out with a statement? Will she release something exclusive to People magazine, giving her side of the story and how she feels that she
got pushed out?
She got pushed out. Mm-hmm. She got punched out.
Exactly. The truth comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. No, I don't know.
What do you think those conversations are like in prison?
I don't know, but man, I want to be there.
Yeah.
Is it too late for us to try to go down and get on the list? To see if we can talk to Jen through a phone?
You know what? Let's look into it. Why not?
I was like, Jen, we're on your side, baby.
Why?
We are on your side. Listen, you got to manipulate a little bit. Guys, don't y'all want to hear the story? Come on.
No, because no one wants to see it on TV either.
Well, I'll watch it.
I know.
Maybe.
Anyway, going back to Supersize, and it didn't fit. Okay. So if it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Which we should have done, but here we are.
Here we are.
Oh, well, we start out.
Episode by episode. I know we're only 2 episodes in. I am impressed. I am moved.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Okay, good.
I feel full.
Okay.
Now, it's interesting because like when I watch OC, I feel good, right? When I watch Salt Lake City, I also feel good. And then when I watch Roni, I like it, but I feel like there's something missing.
You're longing for something.
Exactly.
else.
So I think the best way to describe it is I feel full after OC and Salt Lake City, and I feel hungry still. I feel starved a little bit after Roni.
Like Sai. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like with Roni, I'm only being offered pig in a blanket.
And you're a vegetarian.
Exactly. But with, SLC and OC, I feel like I'm offered a charcuterie.
Yeah.
I have dairy, I've got meats, I got it all. I got fruit, I got veggies, I got the whole thing.
Yeah.
What's the best way to describe it, I guess?
Yeah.
I feel full.
I liked it. And it's hard for me to really wrap my head around. Is it just because I missed certain women? And it's just like exciting because listen, the scenery on this, it makes sense why they want to film it when they want to film it because it's beautiful, especially when they do those high shots. It looks like a village, like a Hallmark village that doesn't exist. It's beautiful. So I think
towns, they all look like that.
It's just like there's an element of that I love, and of course now we're in real time. We're kind of getting into fall, which is the best season, Shannon. So I think there's some feels with just the scenery in general that I really have been longing for.
Okay.
But also, of course, I miss Lisa Barlow and stuff like that. But honestly, the supersized episode didn't daunt me as much as it did when I was doing Vanderpump. And maybe because Vanderpump, it was towards the end and I felt it was kind of overload and I was a little bit tired. But I really liked this episode. I thought it had a lot of different layers. We got a lot of insight on Monica, which I really, really liked. But yeah, a lot of context, I think. I don't think there was a lot of random fluff scenes. I thought it was really, really good. Solid.
Yeah, I think I had one, because I have to look for them.
Yeah.
I had one little criticism.
Okay.
But again, I'm looking for it because I'm not really looking for it, but everything seems so perfect.
It's in you, though. It's in you.
Yeah, there's a finesse to it that I'm not even thinking what's wrong because there really isn't anything wrong. I think the only thing that I was like, okay, was believing that Whitney would invite Angie K to the trip without really telling anybody about it.
Oh, no. Actually, I had it in my notes to ask you about that.
Did you?
Oh,
it
seemed totally fake, but I went with it.
It was a little bit, yes.
Because my question was, I wonder, not trying to take any credit away from Whitney, but I thought, did Whitney come up with this? Or maybe did a producer lead her to be like, why don't you invite Angie K? That's that. And, I just wanted your opinion on what you thought. Yeah. On what you might have done or read the situation because that definitely was a little bit
I think she wanted to invite her, and I think it's a weird story to tell because I think in real, I don't want to say real life, this is the problem. This is why I hate doing a podcast.
Guys, last episode, keep in mind, last episode.
I say real life in funny ears, but in your everyday day-to-day life, right? Where we have time to really mull things over and process. I think Whitney would have come down to the conclusion of I'm not going to do that because it's just going to ruffle feathers. And we pander a little bit to what is the easier thing to do. Mm-hmm. And we all do that. It's just how life is. And I think that she wouldn't have invited her, but why not invite her? And it's also I kind of felt weird that she was being excluded, even though I will stand by and support all day long that cast members do not invite people on trips, and they don't. So I knew that she didn't invite her and she didn't want to invite her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that part was just a little whatever, but it's inconsequential. We needed her there. It's perfect.
It's just hard when it comes from Whitney because everything Whitney does just never lands. Bless her heart. You know what I mean? It just never seems that sincere.
Yeah. It's like a deflated tire.
It's so.
With a little hole that you keep trying to figure out where.
Literally, that is my actual tire right now. I have a nail in it. So my tire is Whitney right now.
Where's the hole? I don't see the hole.
Well, I know where it is.
And you try to patch it, and it's still, the air still comes out.
Yeah. So
leaky faucet. You fix it, but there's still leakage. That's Whitney. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
You also notice I'm still in this lost voice type thing.
It's not. This is your voice, baby. as they say, this is the voice. This is your new voice. You just lean into it. It's beautiful. It's great.
But yeah, I love this episode.
I thought it was good.
I cried. Oh my God, I forgot. I cried.
You cried?
Oh my God, I forgot I cried.
Wait. When did you cry?
The Monica scene.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what
that was such a good scene.
And the thing is that when we got into the scene, I had it was nuanced. I could feel the energy, and I had a feeling of where we were going.
Yeah.
And I knew that, so I was anticipating it, and I cried. Like I really cried.
That was such a good scene.
Like, what the fuck?
You were feeling it.
Yeah, I was.
You know what? Because she was being real. Be real.
Be real. Well, I've also experienced cast members feeling this way, and it's gut-wrenching. I was happy that we're telling that story, but, you know, I cried.
I love that.
It was really unexpected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's pick it up from the top scene, which is a beautiful, beautiful walking scene with the star of the cast, Lisa Barlow, and her
understudy, Meredith Marks.
Understudy, Meredith Marks, a.k.a. Brix's mother.
Break a leg. Okay.
First of all, this scene.
Okay.
The walking.
I felt like it was like two, how would I say this? Like two mafia women who needed to meet on neutral territory to make sure that no one was going to off them.
Yeah, get blown up. Yeah.
You know, like it was very Goodfellas to me.
Yeah.
They show up.
They walk to the end of the pier.
Yeah, we see them arrive in cars, park in the parking lot to go on an outdoor like walk.
Where it ends.
Where they're
at a certain destination.
Where they're wearing pleather.
High heels. Looking at you, Meredith.
But what's so funny is Lisa's
these are
like,
walking shoes.
No. Lisa's like, well, why are you wearing the shoes? Like, I thought we were going on a walk. And I looked down at her feet, and it's 6-inch platform sneaker.
They're walking.
No, that's not Lisa. Okay, that is not a walking shoe.
No, Meredith. Meredith is one that was wearing them, wasn't she?
No, Meredith was wearing the heel. What I'm saying is Lisa was like, Meredith, like, why are you wearing the shoes? I thought we were going for a walk.
Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to be comfortable? But Lisa's also wearing a 6-inch platform sneaker. Okay.
You've got to elevate, baby.
It was just it was just comedic.
Yeah.
To me.
Which is what Barlow is, so.
Yeah. I didn't believe a fucking thing that either one of those women said in this scene.
Okay, so this was my main takeaway, and I'm interested to see if, like, you can feel some recollection. So a lot of, like, you know, how's Jack and the mission, whatever, and they kind of blaze through that pretty quickly. I also like how these women talk about their families as if they don't know their families at all. I understand these women are at odd ends, but at one point I think Meredith was like, well, yeah, so-and-so's graduating. It's like, they don't know that somebody's graduating. It's just like, it felt a little weird to me.
Act like they've gone no contact for 5 years. That the last time they saw Jack was in elementary school, and now he's graduating from high school. So she needs to know, like, what's going on. Where are they going?
They're like, what was your son's name again? It felt a little bizarre. But my main takeaway was Meredith came to this scene knowing that she had to kiss some ass, she had to retract.
Acquiesce.
And what it reminded me of, I think it was season 4 of Roni. I think it was season 3, when Jill showed up and wanted to throw Bethany to the wolves. You didn't call Bobby. Bobby was sick.
Cancer scare.
Yeah, and she wanted to light Bethany on fire. And then what happened was...
Didn't she wear a shirt to the reunion saying #team...
No.
Team Jill. She did. She wore a t-shirt.
She's so extra. But my point is, Jill caught wind pretty fast that the viewers were not on her side. The viewers were actually on Bethany's side. So what did Jill do? Jill retracted. I never wanted to ruin our friendship. I was wrong. I overreacted. I didn't mean this. To me, it's a totally different scenario, but I'm kind of feeling the same way with this interaction. Like, I do not believe for a fucking second we would be here on this pier in the snow with Meredith being like, you know, I'm sorry for what I did, X, Y, and Z, if the viewers were really all on Lisa's side. I think we're standing here because we're at a crossroads where I think everyone knows, especially with social media now versus back when Roni happened, it's very obvious where people stand. And I think she's like, let me at least do my best to try to get back with Lisa and Lisa's good graces. And I think Lisa...
Much to her chagrin, yes.
She knows.
Yeah.
And so Lisa's like, whatever, I'll let it happen, blah, blah, blah. Everyone wants to be friends with me, who cares? It just kind of reminded me of that, because I believe if the viewers were on Meredith's side, Meredith would not be apologizing for fucking anything.
Absolutely.
And that's why this scene was kind of a fraud. But I'm kind of here for it. I'm kind of here for it, too.
I'm here for it because they're both frauds in this scene. And they're both going into this being... I'm telling you, it was a mafia scene. It was like, we need to meet on neutral territory. story. Yes. I need to make sure that you're not going to kill me. Everyone needs to check their gun in at the table.
Yeah.
And we're doing this fairly.
Sure.
With, you know.
Yeah.
Rationale, if you will.
Yeah. So I actually really loved that scene.
I'm sorry for my hot mic moment.
Yes.
I mean.
God. We're not.
Someone had to hold a gun to her head to say that. She was like, I guess I'll say it.
Well, I also, to me, like the fourth wall doesn't exist anymore, right?
I know.
Like, I feel like in any other like past season, you would have said, I'm sorry for what I said. Like, I'm sorry that I went on that rant, but specifically, I'm sorry for my hot mic moment.
She already apologized to her.
Yeah, like 1,000 times.
Okay.
I just love at the reunion when Andy,
you fuck everybody in New York.
Andy reads everything and Lisa goes, wow, that was a lot. I mean, guys, how can you just, this woman is everything that she is what she is.
Well, it was like Lisa Barlow reading the text from Mary.
Oh my God.
You're a loser, you're a da-da-da, you're a da-da.
A witch.
You know, it wasn't her tone kind of the same? Yes. Like, yeah, it's a lot.
Yes. God. But listen, guys, this might be a little unpopular. I'm actually hoping they can get, I don't know that I believe this, but I actually hope they can get through a whole season just being cordial and kind of friendly with one another. I'm here for it. I really am.
This isn't going to sound stupid, but by the end of the scene, I honestly was trying to, I was asking like more of like a philosophical question, I guess, if you will, more existential of like, how did we get here? I honestly was like, I don't even understand how we got here.
With the demise of the friendship?
Yes, because when they do the flashbacks and they're showing their friendship, right? Mm-hmm. I could not understand how it kind of felt like Lindsay and Danielle. I was like, like, why did we threw their friendship out so quickly? I'm led to believe there were other problems in the friendship, very much like marriages. There were problems in the relationship before they got on the show because, you know, outside of the hot mic moment, the hot mic moment was in response to resentment and like anger that
Lisa
they both had. Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, how the fuck did we even get here?
Yeah, I agree.
We've been kind of in the Jen Shaw of it all. And like we talk about Meredith and Lisa, but I'm like, I don't understand. We never really actually asked the question that I think is really important, which is they were friends for so long and we're here. And I don't even know how they got there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter because we're not going backwards, right? We'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah. We'll see.
Curious.
But I'm being optimistic, okay?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, optimism.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Yes.
What did you think about Heather and Whitney at the hot springs? Because it gave me the same energy, right? Didn't it kind of give you like...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Although there was no ulterior motive because I don't know who likes both, you know... Who's on Heather and Whitney's side? I don't know. I think it's really down the middle. So I don't know if there was this like Heather realized, you know, that everyone liked Whitney or Whitney realized everyone liked Heather.
Right.
You know?
Where's the connection there? I don't know. My main confusion, and this kind of clouds throughout the whole episode, I'm confused with and I'm going to say hatred, which is a strong word, but like, the hatred that Heather has towards Angie K. It's not making a lot of sense to me.
Well, we kind of touched on it last episode. I mean,
just that one comment, is that really all we're gonna...
She spread rumors.
That's
why I said, is she upset because Angie K... Like, what is it really? Is it because we're making an assumption that they're connected, that there's like a homosexual lesbian connection? No, I'm serious.
Let's be honest. I don't know.
Because I, like you, was trying to get to the root of what the real anger is. I understand that she's upset because Angie K is perpetuating, you know, what Heather perceives as a false narrative. Okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everyone's kind of done that. And this feels like the emotion doesn't really, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Like it doesn't match what... You know, but then I guess you could argue, you know, we're not in it, so we don't see it that way. But
and this is the scene that and maybe forgive me if we got this last season and I don't remember, but this is to me when I feel like we figure out that Heather and Angie have known each other since high school.
Okay,
which
why didn't we know that last season?
I don't know. I mean,
to say I had no idea is silly because we had no idea.
That's why to me there has to be more to the story here than one comment that was made last season. There has to be more going on.
I just think that, as Nene would say, a hit dog will holler.
Ooh, Nene,
So if
baby.
somebody makes an insinuation or a presumption,
yeah,
and they are feeling so heavily about it, right? And they need to speak on it, and they need to, they need to make sure that that I would never actually partake in, an action that would leave me with this black eye. How dare you?
right.
Again, a hit dog will holler. So you're upset. To me, you're triggered because there's some truth maybe to what Angie K is saying. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think so. And to me, the trigger for me in this scene, which to me, this is why I think Heather is kind of. I love that you're so concerned about what I'm about to say. Your face.
Well, no, actually, no. Well, I am concerned with what you're going to say, but I was also remembering just little things that I had heard throughout, the last couple of years or so. And
with Heather?
Yeah, and I think it kind of aligns with what Angie K said. Like people, I don't think that Angie K is the only person who thinks this. I think she's just the only one that said it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that does make sense.
Yeah.
This is more of a Heather critique for me. In this scene, Heather, and this is why I think Heather is trying to be very shallow and just like very inauthentic. And also
she's trying to be.
She's trying hard. And listen, I always say comedy is hard because comedy is hard. And I think that Heather's trying to be very comedic this season, and it's like a flatliner for me. Like there's no pulse. I don't know what's going on.
I think Meredith's doing the same.
Well, again, the pulse is, to me, there's like a very faint pulse with Meredith because the bath stuff I can kind of get behind.
Well,
but very faint.
Her tagline is kind of a joke on the bath.
It is. And again, very faint.
Mm-hmm.
But in this scene, Heather's like, when I met Angie K in high school, she had curly hair. I thought she had curly hair, but I found out that she just had a perm. That's where my trust issue started. And I thought, oh, God.
The 80s, everyone had a perm.
It's just so. The problem is like sometimes it's the delivery because half of comedic timing is the delivery. She doesn't have, and maybe people laughed at that. They thought it was funny. I thought it was so.
I didn't remember it.
Reaching exactly. It was forgettable for you. I made a point to write it down because I said bad comedy, and I think bless her heart, in her confessional, she laughed at herself. So. It just read all of the symptoms of like, I'm going to try to be funny. I'm going to be light and I'm going to be humorous. And but her trying to be like, that's where my trust issue started was she told me her hair was curly, but really she had a perm. And I thought, God, this is going to be Heather this season. And I can't subscribe. I can't subscribe to Heather this season. And I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired of Heather specifically.
It's because she did this on Ultimate Girls Trip. She tried to be funny there too.
She did.
She thought it was funny that she was a fan.
Oh, yes.
And I felt bad because I knew where she was going with it.
It did not land, though.
But it didn't land.
Here's the thing, though, about stuff like that. You could take exactly what Heather said, put it with a different person who maybe had some conviction, and it would land totally differently, right? Mm-hmm. It's not even about what she's saying. It's how she's saying it. And guys, she doesn't even believe it. She's hoping it's funny, and she hope it lands. I'm going to tell you, maybe landing with everyone else, I thought it was ridiculous. I did not like it.
I just don't like that I didn't know that they were friends, and they knew each other.
Right, exactly.
This is really important to the whole Jen Shaw of it all, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
Because we're talking about two people who
that were good friends with Jen Shaw.
Correct. And they knew each other longer than anyone.
Then either one of them knew Jen.
Yes.
Y'all, that's weird.
That's fucking weird. Why didn't I just look? I'm gonna
a little bit off.
I don't know why we didn't talk about it on the show last season. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around. I could sit here all day and think about it, but we'll figure it out.
One other thing before we move on to the next scene. Guys, I took notes this time. Someone should be really proud of me. I took notes. I sort of organized it. It's still about all over the place. But the other thing they talk about in the scene, which is worth noting.
She just pulled out her piece of paper that she wrote in crayon, her notes, okay?
I don't have a crayon. It was in a pencil.
Am I Heather? Did I just try to land a joke and it didn't go anywhere? Got it. Okay. Cool. Derailed.
Comedy is hard. The other thing that they talk about in the hot tub is Jack's mission.
Yes.
Right? And we get into it a little bit later also, I think. But Heather to me also has the embodiment of someone who just went through Alcoholics Anonymous.
We were thinking the exact same thing.
I've been sober. I've been through AA. I've worked the 12 steps, and I've been sober for 8 months. And then I meet someone who got blackout. I need to talk to them. I need to talk to them. I need to save them. They're drunk. I need to tell them exactly what I did. That's kind of the vibes I'm getting without knowing anything about Jack's mission. I feel like because Heather has a lot of trauma from her own personal experience with the church and Mormonism, she's trying to project that one size fits all. And I feel like she doesn't need to be really honestly commenting on this at all. If
she's concerned.
Being honest.
She's concerned.
Concerned about Jack.
Death oath. He's going to have to take it.
Oh, yes.
He's going to have to take the death oath. And
Whitney goes, the death oath? What's that? Wasn't Whitney in the church?
Whitney doesn't seem concerned.
Well,
now,
honestly,
I don't know if that's just her general disposition or she's just
honestly,
really not concerned.
I was team Whitney in the hot tub. Whitney's like, stop talking about this.
Well, yeah. I think Whitney picked up really quickly, like, oh, this is not going to land well. So I'm just going to do my thing where I'm just not going to talk at all.
Dodes Whitney.
And I'm just going to let Heather do all the talking.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk in my confessional and be like, she was wrong.
Okay, so because I don't have a vast knowledge of Mormonism, but I know enough.
Yeah.
I am not perceiving this as necessarily a problem, because I think that there are different commitment levels in any religion.
Yeah.
We have, you have like very orthodox, reform, and then like secular, right?
Yeah.
I kind of look at this as more of like they're reformed Mormons, even though I know that doesn't exist necessarily in Mormonism.
Yeah.
But the energy that Heather is giving with her concern is the same energy that Lisa's giving, but the concerns are different.
Right.
It feels like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think Lisa's concern was that she wasn't included in on the process. And I feel like Heather's concern is, this is my experience. This has to be everybody's experience. And we see it even later in the scene when she goes shopping with Monica.
I know.
Remember, and Monica's like, well, I was sort of raised Mormon. And Heather's like, is that a thing? And she's like, yeah, I'm sort of raising my kids Mormon. And Heather's like, how is that a thing? How are you sort of raised? And it just makes me believe in y'all. I don't know anything about Mormonism. I wasn't, raised in that religion. But I also think that nowadays, 2023, we can practice a certain religion and maybe not do it all the exact same way. And I think maybe Heather's having a hard time picking up on that concept because she has a lot of trauma based on how she experienced it and a lot of people around her, that not everybody maybe experiences it or practices it in the same exact way.
Well,
right?
I liken it to there are certain subsects of Mormonism where we have multiple wives, right?
Yeah, okay.
And they practice polygamy, but not every Mormon practices that or necessarily believes that.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like
Yeah. I just don't want Heather to be the spokesperson on this.
Well, she's
I feel like she feels,
but she's the only one that we have. That's part of the problem. Like, not problem, but she's our only POV and real window into what I would consider conservative Mormonism.
And that's fine, but as it stands right now, because of Lisa Barley, we have no insight on what this mission is. We may not know because she might be protecting Jack. She might not want to know all the information. But right now, we don't have any idea of what this quote-unquote mission is. So I don't need Heather speculating all this stuff that it's going to be exactly like what her experience was. Even though it might be, but I don't.
Well, that's what I kind of was touching on last episode. I was like, this also could be just there are different types of mission trips,
Yeah.
But it is going to be Heather, so you're going to have to prepare yourself for this,
Okay.
I think you should start processing now.
Okay, well, I'll try. What?
I just made the connection that we go from Meredith, start with Meredith and Lisa, and then we kind of baton toss that to the next, friendship
issue.
Yeah, issue. I was going to say family issue because they're kind of family, they're not whatever. And then we go from Hot Springs Bath to Meredith and Seth, who are also very heavily, centered around a bathtub. From one bath to another.
But clothed.
Yes.
And dry in the kitchen. And a very dry scene.
Seth, I get a cringe when he comes on the scene, figuratively and literally.
Yeah.
And I used to not, and I don't know what's going on with me, but he comes in, I'm like, oh.
Is he turning it on?
He's turning it off. And guys, as you may know, I'm gay. I didn't know that I could be turned off even more. I usually don't get an ick factor.
Well,
what is it?
I feel like he's trying to turn it on for the cameras, and it's very inauthentic. That's what I think. His first season, much like Meredith's first season, was the most authentic we got, and it just went downhill from there. But good news, guys, we got a podcast. We got a podcast. What was it called? Something about a thread.
Hanging on by a thread?
Yeah.
Hanging by a thread.
Hanging by a thread.
This is really giving me Jackie Goldstein, The Weight. Like her book is like a double entendre.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of. Isn't it? Is it called The Weight?
The Weight of the World? I can't remember.
The heaviness of weight?
I don't know.
Wait.
I don't, guys.
What is it?
We're not making, we don't
Wait,
remember.
What is it? Is it the heaviness?
It's something like The Weight of the World.
The Weight of Beautiful.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, bravo. Yeah, but we find out that Seth and Meredith have a podcast.
Okay, well, I wasn't anticipating this being in the episode, so I saw on Instagram that they started a podcast, and I just assumed like,
of course, it's going to be in the episode.
No, but the reason why I didn't think it was in the episode is because it's weird that they filmed a scene where they're seemingly recording an episode of their podcast, but they didn't launch their podcast until this episode came out.
Oh, you think that's strategic though? Maybe.
It is, but because I saw the announcement of the podcast on Instagram, I just was like, oh, another podcast.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it was a jump scare. I was like, oh, I wasn't anticipating to see this process.
God, really? And now we know how fake it really is.
And it was weird because like the pink mic and the pink, I'm like, is that plugged in? You know what I mean?
It's an illusion. And half of that scene was her trying to be like, wipe your nose. I actually really liked Meredith in the scene. He's like, no one sees us. Well, I see you. So wipe your nose.
She looked the most vulnerable that I feel like we've seen her in a long time. Like her smiling and her smart. It didn't feel put on. It felt like this was them.
Are you going to listen to it?
No. Maybe. I'll give it a shot. I always give.
Well, I think they said it was 20 to 30 minutes. So maybe we can listen to one or half of one.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm curious.
You want to do it together? Like safety and solidarity?
Like we did Hard Knocks?
Well, I could watch that all the
I held your hand. No.
Oh, for the Aaron stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious what they have to say on marriage and relationships.
Yeah. Listen, they've been married for a long time. There is an aspect to me, not that they're faking it, but there is an aspect that I feel like they're kind of putting it on. They're kind of putting it on for the cameras. They had that rocky first season when they said that we're getting separated. But now they're back and they're stronger than ever. And I'm not saying that it can't happen or that isn't authentic. I just also feel like it's a little put on.
I 100% believe it's a little put on. I agree with that. But there were just little moments that I saw that Meredith seemed like relaxed is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well,
putting it on, but relaxed.
I don't even mean this scene. I just mean in general. Even last season too. I just mean in general. They seem like they're kind
anything with Seth feels a little.
That's probably why you're like really turned off because he seems fake.
Like I don't believe that they have sex. Like it's hard for me. It's hard for me to believe that. Like
No, but don't say that because if they're listening, they're going to want to do a scene about that. So.
Well, we got the bath scene. We're good.
We're good. Erica Jane, we're good.
She sets up the trip to Palm Springs.
That's right.
Okay. Who she's inviting? She's inviting Lisa. So this is where I think I'm a little confused. She sets up the trip. She's kind of owning the trip.
Yeah.
So then why wouldn't Meredith invite Angie K? Why does it? You're almost led to believe that Heather is the one that's owning the trip. She is not, but does that make sense? Why wouldn't Whitney just tell Meredith?
Yeah, honestly,
Did I miss something?
Honestly, I think
we'll get a DM about this, I feel like.
Yeah, but please DM us because sometimes these episodes, especially the supersize, and again, they gave me a hard time because I like quote unquote blacked out last season, but this is the stuff that I don't remember. And I think that I think Meredith and Angie K had some type of hiccup last season, like maybe a small one, because remember, I think this is what they flashed to.
Yes.
Angie K started becoming on Lisa Barlow's side a lot, specifically with like the Jen stuff. And Angie K was in that van when they were on some vacation, and it was Meredith and Heather, and I don't know if Whitney was there, but it was Meredith and Heather for sure, and they were bashing Lisa Barlow. And Angie K went and told Lisa Barlow what they said about her. And so maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But for whatever reason, I don't think that they're good friends and maybe they have some weird energy.
I think we need to look at this like a reboot and just completely toss out season 2.
In season 3?
Yeah.
Too? Yeah.
Oh, that's what I meant. Season 3.
Let's get rid of all of them.
I think season 3 is a misnomer, and it's a
footnote that nobody wants to read. Guys.
It's like it's kind of it's inconsequential. It doesn't matter. There were so many variables. Monica was a part of it, and then she wasn't. So we're missing certain.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it's just a mess. So I think
for whatever reason, Meredith didn't want to invite her either. Okay. And really her main allies, meaning Angie K, I think are Whitney and I guess Lisa. And I guess Monica, but Monica's new, right? She's new to the group. So not a lot of anchor there. But yeah, but the thing that I missed, which I got later in the episode, that Meredith poses this trip as like, it's about coming together and forgiveness and new roads. Again, all this bullshit with Bravo. New beginnings, new blossoms, new friendships. God damn it.
Can't they just go to Palm Springs? Can't they just go?
Yes. But anyway, yeah.
Guys.
Trixie, baby.
Trixie Mattel.
We're going.
If you're a Drag Race fan, you'll know Trixie Mattel. Whitney knew her first, though.
Yes. She made a point. I'm claiming my territory.
I know. There's a part of me that was like, why does that have to be Meredith? Why does it have to be Mare?
Mare.
That's like...
Mare the Scare.
I know, but she's like LGBTQ plus. But then at the same time,
honestly,
whatever.
Guys, I'm looking to have my glow up with Meredith this season.
So
I'm coming into an open heart, open eyes, baby.
I'm trying to avoid it. I think I'm trying to push it away.
Because you know what? I only have so much disdain in my heart, and I already know who that's going towards. And I'm looking at you, Heather Gay. So I don't know.
What if that changes?
Listen, I would love for it to change. I think that it's a bigger uphill battle with Heather and myself than Meredith and myself.
I know, just like you don't want to like Aaron Rodgers, but you kind of opened yourself up a little bit when we watched that episode. Admit it.
Listen, I admit that he turned it on, baby. He turned it on for those cameras.
Well, okay, so I think that my Heather is Meredith, and you know.
Okay, so you feel it's going to be harder for you to get there with Meredith than it is for Heather.
No, I actually think it'll be easy for me to get there. I just don't want to. Okay. Like I'm trying to like avoid it, you know.
Yeah, we're trying to be open about everybody, guys.
We are.
But somebody who I'm very open with, very excited.
Star.
Monica, baby. Monica.
Guys, she is a natural star. And you want to know why? Because thus far, she is laying it all on the table. Right away.
Yep. She, to me, is a blueprint for every new housewife to watch. They should play this scene. I know that they don't teach this in college, which shame on you. But if they ever do like a Real Housewives, like, you know, college course, they need to teach this on how to be a first-time housewife, or even just Bravo in general, whatever franchise, because she's laying it all on the table. And I think she even says somewhere in here, if I'm going to hide it, it's going to come up eventually, and I might as well own my story so they can't use it against me.
What do I always say?
You and Eeps are always saying it always comes out. So own it, baby.
If you have skeletons in the closet, that is okay. You have to be comfortable with understanding that there's always a possibility that there is going to be a topic of conversation that is going to come up that you may not want to talk about.
Yep.
So it's okay if you don't want to talk about it, but you have to know that's going to happen and you have to be okay with that at least, right? If you're not, you're always going to be left hanging out to dry. You're always going to feel like the rug is ripped from under your feet because you cannot ascertain how somebody found out that you fucked someone's brother 20 years ago. They know. We all know.
Yeah.
We'll always know.
Yeah.
So Monica's a really good example, but I do want to say that at the same time that sometimes I knock the network for not necessarily telling certain socioeconomic stories in the way that I think we could be opening up that conversation even more so than we are. I think their strategy in telling Monica's story as raw as they are. I don't know if they would be doing that necessarily in the same way that they're doing it or as we're seeing it, because I do think that the strategy here is we have excommunicated, like that's kind of the theme, right? This religion, Mormonism, excommunication.
Yeah.
We have excommunicated a woman who begged, borrowed, and stole to live a certain type of lifestyle on a show in front of everyone, not on a show, but in front of her friends as well, where we're replacing that with a woman who is the diametrical opposite. She fears what people are going to think of her.
Yeah.
But it doesn't allow her to waver in her convictions and authentic self, right?
Yeah.
She has moments where she slips. We get that with Mom. You know, she just I felt so bad. She was
is this the
Louis
part
Vuitton.
that you cried
Yes.
at? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we see her. So we're getting this window in that we, for the most part, really don't see. We see it with Gina, but it doesn't work on OC, and everyone maligns her. They're like, she's not aspirational, just leaves her. But here it works.
Love you, Gina.
I think it works because we're excommunicating, and then we're also baptizing someone at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that scene with her talking about going to get the Louis Vuitton and stuff like that. Like, it's told from a very like shallow sense of like, oh, I need to get a purchase of a bag, but
also
like
very relatable.
But also, it's about not feeling secure. It's about feeling I don't belong. I don't mix in with this group of people. And she's telling that story through a situation that she went through. I kind of felt silly. I bought a bag, and she's getting emotional because she feels like maybe, why did I do that? They should just like me for who I am. But herself. I'm feeling insecure. And her mom also dynamite, like fucking phenomenal, phenomenal scene with the mom. But I just love, even though the avenue of like the bag might be shallow, whatever. But what she's saying is that she's being so vulnerable. She feels like she doesn't really fit in. She doesn't know if the women are going to accept her. And the way that she's being so forthcoming with how she is feeling, I really was taken aback. And I liked her the first episode, but now I'm in. Mm-hmm. I'm in on Monica. I like how open and honest she's being. And I just feel like this is how you do it. It's okay that you don't have all of the same wealth and everything. Take away the church, take away all that, which I think is interesting and a very important part of the story. But take that all away. It's okay that you're not in the same circle financially, socially, all this stuff with these women. You're putting it out on the table and you're saying, I still deserve to be at this table. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to buy into you because I believe you and I believe in you.
And because we're getting this very early on, it doesn't allow the viewer to necessarily put Monica in the box of, or put the cast members as a whole in the box of, well, Monica feels this way because the women may have made her feel inferior.
Right,
she already feels this way before going in. So we know, again, this is her true, authentic self.
Yeah.
And it feels more like a checks and balances. Like, I'm admitting what I did, not necessarily because I truly believe that, and I still believe that, but because I realized I had this aha moment of like, what am I doing? This says really more about maybe how I feel about myself than how the women are necessarily thinking of me or going to think of me because they haven't really met me.
Yeah.
She's a little embarrassed because she's divorced and now she's on her own completely financially.
Right.
And she has the business and she's basically, you know, she's proud of herself, but at the same time, she's like...
She's insecure.
She's like, yeah, I have this little old business. I mean, here I am like folding these, were they scarves?
Yeah.
Folding these by hand. Like I literally am doing everything on my own. And I'm trying to... You know, I've made friends with the social circle where we come to find out that, you know, we lose $80,000 rings and bathrooms. And so it's like, it's just the juxtaposition is really fascinating. And they're doing a really good job of letting us in on that.
Yeah. And I think the affair is going to be really interesting because she's already owning it. We already know about it. I'm just so grateful that this isn't going to be a season where we don't know the information and all the women are like,
we know
something about her, guys. We know.
They have it in their pocket.
And now we already know. Listen, now the judgment's still going to be there. We're still going to see the judgment. We saw it a little bit with Heather. We're going to be a part of that. But the cat's already out of the bag, baby. Yeah. She's already said, I slept with my brother-in-law. And I will say, I'm going to own my own judgment. When she was like, I slept with my brother-in-law, I immediately thought it was the husband's brother. But then when she said it was his sister's husband, I was like, that's worse. That's worse. I don't know why I thought that was worse, but like...
Well, initially I thought it was her sister's husband.
Oh, yeah.
But then I realized, no, it's...
Her husband's, her ex-husband's sister's husband. And I was like, ooh. It's bad regardless, but guys, we all have a past.
Shit happens.
We all have a past. She's owning it, and I'm here for her right now.
Yeah.
I really, really am. She, to me, and I know that this word is so overused, and I apologize, but she, right now, to me, is the definition of being authentic. She's owning it. She's being who she is. We're seeing just enough. I don't think anything's put on for camera. I think that this is where she is. And like she said, I don't want anyone telling my story because then I've lost some of my control.
This is a cast member who just gets it right away and trusts the process, which I want to applaud because I don't blame characters. I don't blame cast members who don't trust the process right away because why would they?
Sure.
Look at social media, guys. We're part of the problem.
Yeah.
If social media is the way that it is, which I'm not saying it can't be, but if we don't start to ease up, we're gonna see more inauthentic storytelling narratives.
Yeah.
We're not going to get people really wanting to tell their truth because it's become increasingly more difficult as every year goes on.
Every year passes. That is true.
Okay. The double date.
Oh.
So this is what you wanted to ask me.
Oh yeah.
You know, Whitney's like, why doesn't if the impetus of this trip is fresh start, new beginnings, okay?
Wait.
True renewal, true religion, true faith jewelry, fresh starts. If that is the impetus of this trip, then why aren't we inviting Angie K? Now, I agree with the sentiment. I kind of felt bad when I realized that she wasn't invited. And this is where we also find out she's not invited. Because Angie's exactly. Now, before Whitney extends the invitation, I immediately clocked. I went, okay, Angie knew she wasn't invited. This is not the first time she's hearing this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that, and that can happen. And I'm less...
What?
I'm less critical.
What trip?
Exactly. I'm less critical in these types of moments than I am, when they just they just know details about certain stuff that they shouldn't. But the cast trip, I'm not surprised that she would know. It's how it's choosing Whitney as to be the person to get us there.
I'm saying the delivery is a miss. So
this is for me. This is one of those things as a producer where you kind of have to pick the lesser of the two evils. The only way it truly makes sense is for Whitney to invite her. But you know that Whitney's going to probably fuck it up a little bit, or it's going to feel like inauthentic. So you kind of have to pick the lesser of the two evils. So you kind of just... That's
true. Yeah. And it can't come from Lisa, because right now Lisa and Meredith are on a men's, and Lisa's not even really thinking about that, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it does have to come from Whitney. But that... talk about a little cringe scene when she was like, the trip, Meredith's trip. And Angie K's like, what trip? And I'm like, okay, tap me out, because I can't with this. And the husbands are like, what's happening? And then, it's just the Whitney, she just can't land it. She can't land the plane, unfortunately.
So, I mean,
it's and then in her confessional, she's like, I'm surprised Meredith didn't invite her. It's a trip about, forgiveness and new beginnings.
New beginnings.
But yeah, that was my one note that I was like, oh, I need to ask Lauren about this, because it definitely felt like either Whitney, I don't think Whitney went rogue, because bless her heart, but like either the producer maybe led her to be like, why don't you bring this up to help, to make sure Angie's invited. I will say when she invited her, I was like, wait, did Meredith give a +1? Because I don't remember hearing that at all. But then we did find out later that Whitney was like, Meredith didn't give a +1.
Yeah.
But, this is my territory, and I knew Trixie first.
That's how she justifies it. She knew Trixie Mattel first.
You know what? And kudos, baby. I'm here for that. I'm here for a little bit of the messiness of Whitney. The action I can get behind, the delivery, I'm out.
Because the sentiment you believe. That's the thing. You believe in the sentiment.
Yeah.
We just can't really get down with and rock with how it's happening on camera.
Yes.
So this is one of those scenes where this is a scene that sometimes I think perpetuates the ideology that every cast member has to be invited, and it's a requirement. So they don't believe that certain people don't invite people. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of always, people are curious on cast trips. Don't they all have to go? So why do we have to entertain?
Sure.
The fact that somebody's not going to invite, they're going to eventually get there anyway.
Yeah.
This is why. This is a scene where this is why people think that.
But you can debunk that.
Yes. So I do truly believe, and I'm very confident, 100%, that she was not going to be invited, and that would have just happened the way that it happened. But Whitney wanted her to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's better for the story, guys.
Well, fucking of course it is. And then they're going to get there early. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I love. And they're like, oh, she just said she was taking a different flight. Like Jenna Lyons. Not an earlier flight, just a different flight. Oh, what else did she say?
See how these women don't give a fuck?
Just a different flight.
Not one person even said anything.
Yeah, because,
they're more just concerned when she's going to get there, as opposed to, like, she's coming in the morning, in the afternoon, tomorrow. They just don't know.
Yeah.
But they don't care.
They don't care.
They don't even think about it. Now, when Meredith finds out that she got there before her and she's owning the trip, she's absolutely going to give a flying fuck.
Yes.
She's going to care.
And I'm here for it.
She's going to care big time.
I'm here for it. The cattiness of this season, I'm in for.
Yeah.
Because it's silly, but I'm here for it. I really am. I can't wait.
Now, you said something earlier that was very interesting to me that I kind of was like, question mark?
Uh-oh, what was it?
And I was going to ask you then, but then I was like, fuck it, we're going to get to that scene anyway.
Oh, okay.
You took it as Heather kind of judging Monica when Monica lets us in on the affair and the excommunication. I didn't take it like that.
Let me retract.
Okay.
I actually thought Heather did a very good job with the affair and that.
Okay.
And she was like, of course he didn't get excommunicated. Of course you did. Like I actually.
Oh, okay. I misinterpreted
Heather's
that then.
judgment for me was, how could you be raised like half Mormon? Heather's judgment was, how are you raising your children sort of Mormon. How does that work? Like the judgment, the same way the judgment is coming in with the Jack stuff. She views Mormonism as one way, and that's the way that she experienced it. So how the fuck can anyone else do it differently?
But
that's where the judgment came in at the very beginning of the
But that doesn't track for me, because then why aren't we asking Lisa Barlow? Lisa Barlow doesn't exercise Mormonism the way that Heather discusses it. So why aren't we?
I know, but I think she does.
Neither did Jen Shaw.
But I think she. Oh, I don't even think about
Jen Shaw's Mormon.
Well, but I think somebody, was it Heather, that was like, well, Lisa has a tequila company. Lisa eats fast food, like certain things that fall outside of the church requirements. I don't know. It read very judgy to me.
Well, I just don't understand how she can't wrap her head around that, but she doesn't question really. I mean, she gets it that Lisa owns a tequila company. She understands that there's a middle of the road type of Mormon through her POV of Lisa. So what? Because I don't get it.
Because it's hypocritical and it's confusing to get, because it shouldn't make sense. Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, Heather's skeptical of Angie, and she's even more so, expresses her trepidation in her confessional when she realizes that Monica's connection to the group is through Jen Shaw, and then we have the Angie K of it all, and then we have, Lisa Barlow. She knew Lisa. She talked to Lisa. I mean, it's just
it's a spider web.
We're
baby.
bopping.
It's a spider web. The real I talk about laugh out loud comedy scene, but Heather adjacent.
I was about to say Heather's funny now.
Again, laughing at. Just kidding. Heather in her confessional, because she was talking about Monica and how Monica's friends with Angie K. And again, Heather doesn't like Angie K. She doesn't trust Angie K.
But she's gonna be open to Monica. She's open.
She's open to Monica, but you know what? You know what she says though? I'm a little bit weary about Monica because, she's friends with Angie K, and I'm a believer in the company you keep is a reflection on you.
I laughed.
And I laughed out loud, baby, because who's Jen Shaw?
I literally was like,
Jen Shaw. Should people judge you based on how you wrote in hard for Jen Shaw? Oh my God, the irony. I almost struck dead, died on the couch.
Now that I think about it, she really hasn't brought up her conflict. Like, she probably has conflicting feelings with, Jen going to prison and her not association, but, all of last season. But she does. She kind of deflects, and she's concerned about Angie K. She's concerned about...
We're not going to get it in a real way.
Possibly concerned about Monica. But her concern with Monica isn't because she used to be Jen Shaw's assistant, or that she led the FBI to Jen Shaw's arrest, but it's Angie K, the person that she knew since 10th grade.
Yeah.
Make that make sense, please.
Guys, the company you keep is a reflection on you.
I can't.
And she's friends with Angie K, and that is a bad reflection. I just like it. So the comedy is there. The comedy is there. You have to look at it a different way. Mm-hmm. That was the most ridiculous thing,
dude,
of the entire episode.
I was aghast.
You were ride or die for Jen Shaw. This is what I have a problem with Heather. Heather, if you're out there, and listen, Heather probably is one person that is listening. Heather, I fucking loved you your first season. Just come on and say, you know what? I loved this woman. She was fucked up. I rode for her. She's in prison now, and I'm having to reevaluate my life. I'm having to now
recontextualize my friendship with a person who is now a criminal and in prison.
And I have to own that I stood by her, and I am going to own that.
And that's
I'm going to face the music, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to have hard conversations being like, yeah, I made a bad judgment, or yeah, I feel sad. Honestly, I would have so much compassion for Heather if she was like, you know what, as backward as this sounds, I'm really sad. I'm really sad my friend is in prison right now, because I think that is an actual emotion that she feels. Yeah. I would feel so much compassion for that, but we're not going to get that. We're going to get, well, I had to project because, Jen was over the top. Jen was doing this. I couldn't really tell her how I feel. I couldn't tell her how I felt, X, Y, and Z. We're not going to get anything real with Heather, and I can't subscribe to that. And she is getting further and further and further down the rabbit hole, like Alice in Wonderland, whatever that movie was. She's in cuckoo land, and I can't subscribe to it. And this scene sent me over the edge with that one comment.
Yeah. The way that I just now made this connection.
What?
Because, and we won't get too much into this, but obviously we all know about Danny Masterson, Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher,
yes.
the witness letters, the character witness letters, and all of that. And I think a common thread in this in Scientology is that, again, men are not reprimanded or given consequences for their actions, but yet the women have to, they question the women. The women need to look from within. If you were raped, you need to ask yourself, what did you do that put you in the position to have this happen to you?
Yeah.
Very similarly to Monica engaged in an affair, but it takes two to tango. We know that.
Right.
But she's excommunicated and he's totally fine. Yeah. He's in good standing with Mormon church. It's disgusting. That's just, by the way, if we're going to call something disgusting, that's disgusting.
That's disgusting. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Horrifying.
Okay. I feel so naive and I feel so, I promise I'm not trying to make fun or anything like that. I am unaware.
Okay.
I didn't realize that the garments, I thought it was figurative. I didn't actually realize that they wore the Puritan garments underneath their clothes. Yeah. I literally texted executive producer and was like, do you mean to tell me that they're wearing these under their day clothes?
I guess so. Honestly, I didn't know that either. I did.
And then they showed the picture. I went, oh, no. Their garments is like a real thing.
And then Heather has to be like, the first time I wore underwear was my daughter's.
Oh my God. I honestly kind of took it like a rosary, like a garment was like a dressing, but not an actual undergarment.
Correct.
Literal.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but it is.
How uncomfortable.
It is.
Good for you, Monica. You went right to Victoria's Secret and
she goes, I got those thongs, baby. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And Heather went right to the daughter's closet.
Mm-hmm. But by the way, doesn't that really say so much?
Yeah, I appreciated that scene. Mm-hmm. Honestly, to give Heather a little credence,
this was a good scene.
I liked that part when she talked about the underwear. I thought that was very real. And then I will say, on her face, I did feel some judgment, but verbally, when Monica was telling her story about the affair and all that kind of stuff, I didn't feel much judgment.
No, she was validating.
I was actually really appreciative of, and her being like, well, what happened to the man? Oh, the man was fine. And then Heather being, of course he was.
Guys, we're dragging Heather, but I will say that I am looking at this.
We're fair.
I am going into this season.
We'll call her out when we see good things, or I will at least, which will be few and far between. Probably.
I am allowing myself to go into the season and really understand these women as no longer under the thumb of
Jen Shaw
malignant narcissism abuse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Distaste. I still have so much passion for Heather.
Yeah, I know.
If I didn't care, the biggest insult is being indifferent. If I didn't care at all, there would be no passion.
She's kind of nerdy. I think once you start really thinking like how kind of like
well, I have another scene to.
You know what I mean? I don't want to say loser in the same way of like Tom Schwartz. Like kind of like not loser, but like I don't know.
Unpopular.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like in an endearing way,
Well, yeah, first season, big time.
No, I just mean in life. Look at the way she talks about Angie K. Angie K was cool. She was not. She still carries a lot of that identity.
But she didn't really talk about Angie K like that. She kind of did, but it was more about.
But it's the subtext.
How distasteful. When Angie K talked about it, Angie K said Heather was into books.
That's right.
Heather was into books, and I was not into books.
Oh, that's right. She said that. So Angie K peaked in high school.
We get again, mean. We get more of a point of a POV of the high school experience, maybe more so from Angie K being like, Heather's
embodying and trying to personify the mean girl she always wished she could have been. That popular girl. What you think?
Comes later
as an adult.
Yes.
That's why Angie K is less than. Angie K is like, she doesn't care about that stuff.
Yeah, Heather's like, Angie K peaked in high school. And I think she meant like comedy wise. And I thought this is a joke in itself.
What do you mean comedy?
She's like, Angie K was really funny in high school and she peaked in high school. I thought, okay.
Oh, I just thought that. I just kind of took it like she was her hottest and best self in high school. Usually, I think that's what
it's all rude. It's just rude. Mean.
I know.
Oh, what's next, guys? This is when I stopped taking notes.
Okay, Mary calls the hotel.
Oh, that's right. This is a flash.
She wants to know if there's Dom Perignon, 2003. Okay. Now, do you remember that in her first season, where she has the Met Gala themed lunch?
Oh yeah.
That's what she serves is Dom Perignon 2003.
Okay.
And the women were just like, they were so excited. The kid in the candy, so they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I thought this was hysterical.
It was so, and then her facial expressions, and also
her son just sitting there.
But the person on the other end of the phone, no, what? Like they've never been asked. They've never been asked this question. We have some pizzas, but not that much food. Like, guys, this scene was comedy. I loved it.
It's so interesting because something like this or this type of a scene with Mary plays for comedy, but when Sai does it in Roni, it's different. Even though she's joking and she's just trying to tease. It's really interesting.
It does read differently. I also think it's kind of still comedy. It's just I don't know.
People are mad at
maybe
Sai.
it is, really?
They're so annoyed by her. They cannot stand her.
I like Sai.
Because of the food. They wanted to give it up. They wanted to let it go.
And honestly, I can respect that. I can validate that. I get it. But
I want them to let go of the fact that Jenna took a business class.
Yeah, let's let go of Jenna and let's let go of
Jessel and sex.
Jessel and sex. To me, I would rather talk about food all day long and make fun of Sai than talk about how, guys, let's get Jessel wasted and take photos to send to her husband so they can fuck. I don't need any of that conversation.
We really got into it.
Good. Okay, I haven't listened to it yet. I'm gonna listen to it when I get home. While I'm watching the Eagles game.
Again, it was boomer energy. It's like, again, I just want to say this real quick, and obviously our listeners who listen to Roni will have heard this, but just for the interest of kind of entertaining you.
Okay.
It wasn't so much that I knew her intention was to be funny and like to be jokey.
Aaron, you mean?
Yes, but the subtext and the kind of conditioning was so glaringly obvious that even in that joke, it was boomer energy. Yeah. She thinks you have to get drunk to get naked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And
Aaron.
Yeah, it's just kind of sad.
I know.
If I went a year and a half without sex, I would die. I would die dead. I think that's what she said. I would die.
Death oath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bringing it back to Salt Lake City.
Yeah. Okay. When we got to Palm Springs in the episode, did this happen to you where as soon as we transitioned to Palm Springs, your eyes were like, oh, whoa. It was so bright. I was like, oh my God, I'm so used to seeing white.
Honestly, you say jump scare. This was a jump scare for me.
I was so excited. It was so illuminating. It looked like the Barbie movie. But
it did. Yeah. It was too much for me.
It was very bright. But that's what Palm Springs looks like.
I know.
I love Palm Springs.
I don't know that I belong in Palm Springs. I would love to go with you maybe one time to experience it.
You would like it because it's hot, but it's dry.
Yeah, but I don't want to be in the sun that much. So what activities are we going to be doing?
Why don't you live in Alaska then? There's sun here. There's sun everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm not really hanging out outside. I'm just not much of like a poolside. I don't know.
I see what you're saying. So so I get you. And yes, I think that you would have a good time. But by and large, the activity and the overall theme of Palm Springs is poolside.
Okay. Well, the other thing is I am not a lover of pink. So it was a lot for me. I do understand it's a very kitschy type of a place to stay, and it's like a character.
Slim Aaron.
And I kind of like that. I can get into a character, right? Like if I'm staying at like to me, it's totally different, but I would attribute it to like a Bates Motel. You're like, I'm going to go and have an experience staying at like a Bates Motel.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the same, but it is, to me, it's like a character. And I can appreciate it from that sense. It was too much for me aesthetically.
I love it.
But I know you did.
It was bright, but I loved it. Top.
I think it's supposed to be everything it was.
It was
just
wild.
It just wasn't necessarily for me. I still would love to go stay there for fun, but
the way the pink was bouncing off of everyone's skin, I'm sure camera operators and DPs were very excited, and also very like, what the fuck? Everything's pink.
God, what would I do? I would just be like, I'd be washed out.
Well, okay, so this happens when we are filming scenes outside where the background's very green. It bounces off of them and it makes the cast member's skin look green and gray. Oh. So you have to balance the light out, right?
I'd be like the Grinch.
Yeah, so it's a lot of work to balance the lighting to make it look like it would if you were there.
A human.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm sure there were some tricks, maybe there wasn't. It just felt...
They were all holograms.
Yeah, exactly. I loved it. I loved that it looked like Barbie. I loved that, it's Trixie Mattel and it felt like a Barbie type of place.
That was cool.
It's very exciting.
But yeah, before I think we see that Whitney and Angie K get there, we're at the airport, guys. We're at the airport and Lisa Barlow.
It's also an hour and probably 15-minute flight.
Okay, can I say this?
Yeah.
Because I loved this for relatability, but I also didn't know if maybe they just put this out there to be relatable. Do we believe these women flew American Airlines?
Yes.
Okay, I love it.
There's only so many flights from Salt Lake City to Palm Springs, so you just kind of have to take what you can get.
I love it. And the way that they made it seem is that Angie K and Whitney flew Southwest, which even more likable because that's what I fly. To me, that was the MVP of the moment of the episode. I loved it. But yeah,
it's like flying to Vegas from LA.
It's so super.
Yeah, like
super
no one
short.
really cares about business class. No one really cares about that type of shit because it's a 45-minute hour.
It's quick.
Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, we get there and all the women are there, but Lisa, I guess, is late and they're kind of hanging out at upstairs. And they're I think Lisa's downstairs, or maybe it's vice versa. Lisa's upstairs, whatever. But they're like, Whitney, where's Whitney? Well, Whitney's coming later. Or she's on a different flight. We don't know. We don't know if Whitney's early. We don't know if she's late. All we know is that she's taking a different flight. Why? I don't know. She told me she's taking a different flight.
A different flight.
The mystery is building. Little do we know why.
Then we land. Now, I just thought of something that I feel bad because I didn't have any really big feelings about the traveling because it's just kind of connective tissue, right?
Yeah.
When Lisa loses her ring, I'm so lost in the comedy of that. Okay. Mm-hmm. But what I didn't think about, which I think when I point this out, I think you're going to be mad.
What is it?
When Heather got her black eye, we have no cameras. We have no connective tissue. We know nothing about that.
Mm-hmm.
But Heather also understands that she needs to pull out her cell phone to give us audio and maybe perhaps a little bit of a visual of what it looks like for Lisa to lose her ring in the public bathroom. You picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah, well, I didn't necessarily connect it specifically to the black eye because I black out on that situation. But
I'm annoyed.
This was the moment where I think I put in my notes that this was such, for a lack of a better term, like such a mean girl thing to do. Because when you watch Heather do this video, she is grinning. She's kind of excited. She's like,
why didn't she
kind of laughing at it? And here's my question, because I was kind of lost on this.
I don't think Lisa would have cared if she was getting this coverage on her cell phone.
Yeah, because Lisa didn't give a flying fuck about Heather. Let's call a spade a spade.
But Lisa's also so
she's in her own situation. She's in her own world. She doesn't care.
Especially because it's $6,000 ring on a public bathroom floor.
Not that this matters, but I was a little confused because the first time, because I saw like a sneak peek of this, right? Like last week or whatever.
Yeah.
Was this the wedding ring, or is this just because she says this was a ring that John gave that has symbolic experience, like symbolic meaning? And I was like, oh, the wedding ring, but she never says this is my wedding ring. She just says, oh my God, my ring. But she's wearing it on her ring finger. So I was very confused on what it was. Not that it matters. Like, she has a right to be upset and angry about regardless what it was. Yeah. But I was a little confused context wise, like, was this the wedding ring, or was this maybe just a ring that John gave her after the fact? My parents have been married for like 50 years, and my dad's on like his 5th wedding ring because he keeps losing them. But like, I was just from a context trying to kind of understand what ring this was.
I think it is her wedding band.
Okay.
But I'm speculating that it's not necessarily the wedding band she's had since they got married.
Sure.
Because as they've grown their wealth, typically you size up.
And my mom's done that too.
Yeah, and you get better rings.
Yeah.
So it could have been a ring that he gave her on maybe their 20th anniversary, or like significant in that way.
Yeah, it just felt, the Heather video really pissed me off because I understand Lisa Barlow's hyperbolic. She's everything that she is. She's over the top. Oh my God, my ring is this and that. And she is comedy. I'm not Heather. Fucking forget that. Lisa is funny. But like in this moment, when she's like freaking out about her, right?
That's why it's funny,
right? When she's she's just authentically who she is. When she's upset about her ring, and Heather's like, "Wow, Lisa's like freaking out. She can't find her ring."
I don't know why she had to do that in the stall though.
But like, she's like grinning and smiling, like kind of like she's happy and like gloating about it. It felt gross to me, and it made me feel like Heather peaked in high school, meaning she didn't get to be the mean girl that she wanted to be.
That's
and now she's being like a bitch.
So when I first was watching this, I was just so enthralled with Lisa and being like, oh my God, this is so funny, that I didn't really pay too much attention to the fact that Heather's in the stall and doing that. But right now, as we're recapping, I'm like, wait, why was she in the stall? She didn't need to be.
No.
Lisa wouldn't have paid attention. And by the way, we encourage cast members to pull out their phones.
Heather, be fake. Be who you are. Be like, oh my God, Lisa, we're trying to help Lisa find her ring right now. We're in the stall.
Well,
I would have appreciated that way more than what the fuck she did in that fucking stall.
So I wonder if she thought about that, and if she did that, then she would really be seen as like a person who's not helping Lisa find it, but instead,
well, she read it
video
wrong. Again,
videotaping her
like
demise.
Beverly Hills, you got it wrong. You got it wrong. And then to come
the perception's going to be there regardless, right? You just have to pick the lesser of the two evils.
Well, and then they come out of the stall, and then Lisa's like, I'm going to talk to security. I'm really upset. Like, I'm really upset about this. And Heather's like, I get it. No, do you get it or don't you get it? At least have some conviction. Yeah. I was pissed. And I'm not just pissed just because it was Lisa Barlow. If it was anybody else, she just annoyed the shit out of me. And I feel like she's trying to be like,
she's trying to deflect
because it's easy to make fun of Lisa Barlow. I get it.
She's trying to deflect because eventually she's going to have to be asked how she feels about Jen Shaw being in prison. We haven't gotten there yet.
Well, I hope it's coming.
We're trying to change the subject really quickly all the time.
It's coming.
No, don't look at me. Don't look at me. Let's talk about Monica. Let's talk about NGK. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Gorman. Let's talk about Mission.
The mission.
She's on a mission to talk about Mission.
The mission away from Jen Shaw.
Yeah. I was devastated for Lisa that she lost her ring. This is how I felt when I forgot my phone and didn't have my Taylor Swift ticket.
Oh my God, me
too.
That
I now can comfortably say
me too.
That I spent $3,500 on.
Worth it.
It was worth it. But when I told that story then to our listeners, I couldn't bear to say $3,500. And let me just tell you, I felt that over $3,500, and I felt the same way Lisa did, and her ring was $60,000.
Y'all, and Lisa had every right to fucking flip out and be upset.
But like, LOL, that she quickly goes from like, and just like, I'm just gonna call my jeweler to replace it. And Monica's like,
I had my hand in a public toilet. I love that. Public restroom toilet. Another reason I was like, I love Monica. I love Monica.
I felt that because my hand would be in the tampon trash can.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the tampon.
Looking for the ring.
Right.
And if I found out that she was just going to call the jeweler, I'd be like, oh, I risked a lot.
You did,
I risked disease.
Double soap.
Oh,
soap.
Double soap. Gloves for the rest of my life. I cannot touch anything. I'm diseased. Like put me on an island, like leprosy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it. Oh, God.
And just like Jen Shaw, no one will visit me after what I did and risked for Lisa Barlow's ring.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, my God.
No, I think Lisa's sad about it, but I think Lisa also internalizes a lot of emotion sometimes. Like she acts, but then she like calms down and she's still feeling that way. I mean, she calls John. Yeah. Another theme is the Sprinter bus and Lisa Barlow and phone calls. I'm shaking. I'm literally shaking.
I'm calling my
John. What do I do?
My jeweler and then my lawyer.
Yeah. What do I do? Also, you can't trust anybody unless they sign an NDA.
Also, but how great was that though when she was talking to the airport security? She's like, my ring, $60,000, and the guy was like, wow.
No, he goes,
fuck. He was like, whoa. We're not finding that, baby. We are not finding that.
Also, Mary Cosby is giving no grace. She's like, get over it already. You lost your ring. I love how out of touch these women are. Like, why is Lisa, move on. You lost your ring. Mm-hmm. What are you going to sour the whole trip over your ring? Get on with it.
But she doesn't. She makes it through even on the bus trip. The bus ride, I mean. She's over it. But again, Mary's cold and insensitive, but Mary is who she is.
Wow.
Nobody can call Mary inauthentic. Mary is who she is, and I can respect the fuck out of that.
Yeah. Because she means it.
Yeah.
She's like, you need to
get over it. Get over it. You're so fucking rude.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what?
Well, how did you feel about Heather's joke?
What was the joke? You have to remind me.
What's the most expensive thing you've lost? My dignity.
Okay. But you know what I said though? I almost got it. So I knew I said my virginity. I thought that's what she was gonna say. Because I knew it wasn't gonna be anything that was like tangible.
Yeah.
So actually I felt so seen I was like, oh, my virginity. That's what she's gonna say, my virginity. So the fact that she said my dignity, I thought, you know what? I know exactly who this woman is. And
well, she did. She lost her dignity last season.
Well, she's losing in the first two episodes.
Do you think when she said, my
love
dignity?
That I saw her, I was like, I can see you for everything you are.
Well, do you think that she meant it to be a joke, or do you think she meant it to be like a double entendre, or do you really think that she was like, this is the one time I'm going to take accountability and acknowledge that I was a fool?
All the above. I think it's a situation where she can be like, it's kind of comedy because it's true, but I'm also taking responsibility. I know that I fucked up, but also I'm doing it very like a lighthearted way where I don't have to take too much ownership.
Yeah.
I don't have to answer a lot of questions.
Okay.
And she did. She did lose her dignity, for me, at least.
Of course she did. And her integrity. We're building back better, Heather. This is your season. So
not yet.
I'm looking well, this is your season to redeem yourself, and I'm going to be looking under a little, magnifying glass.
Yeah. Lauren is going to be a little bit more lenient, I think.
I can't help it, and maybe I'm fair to a fault, but
I'm going to be more lenient towards Meredith.
Oh, I also think that it's not at the same level. I don't dislike Meredith. Guys, I called this season 1. And
yeah, you did.
I said from the jump, from the very first season, before the pandemic, before all of that, I said, this is going to be Meredith through and through, and she's going to continue to give this.
It's going to get tired, yeah.
The disengaging and the LOLs and the funny laugh, haha for season. I was like, that's going to tire fast.
It's not sustainable.
Like Landon Clements.
Oh, yeah.
Like tired
so
fast, And she proved to me exactly what I thought she was. So I've been here for a while.
Yeah.
So everyone like kind of disliking her or feeling a certain type of way. Like y'all are a little late to the game. So I don't feel that type of, I don't have the same type of strong feeling. So I'm a little more open to her. I verbalize it differently,
I just loved her the first season and I fell off. And Heather, same. But my passion for distaste is much higher for Heather. And I just want her to cut it out. Cut it out and cut it loose, baby, but cut it loose in a real way.
I think she will. I think she'll start to trust herself again.
I hope so.
And just trust the process.
Because she was so fucking likable. And I know that she's in there. Heather, you're in there. We believe in you.
You have to dig deep.
This is not it. And honestly, don't go against Lisa Barlow. At least not in a fake way.
Well, I can't wait until the next episode.
You want to talk about a husband?
Guys, Meredith's eyes are scary. It's so scary. I laughed. I was laughing.
Kid you not? I rewound that 3 times. Because if you read the subtitles,
it's like a Clockwork Orange.
It does. It's like, very what? Clockwork Orange. It is. If you read the subtitles, it goes, you want to go there with husbands? But if you listen to how she says it, you want to go there with husband?
And do you want to go there with the husband? You don't want out there what you don't want to talk about. It's Kim Richards.
You know what, though? I was so relieved.
You don't talk about the husband.
I was so relieved because when we saw the big trailer at the beginning of the season, I thought, because it was Lisa Barlow, I thought,
you beast.
God, you beast. How dare you? Anyway, Eileen, we love you. But in that trailer, I thought when she was like, you want to go, don't go there with husband. I thought, oh God, she's talking to Lisa Barlow. This is going to be a whole thing. But now that I know that it's about Angie K, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling so much better. Because I did not want it to be Meredith and Lisa going head to head this fast about husbands. Okay.
It's because she's there at the trip and Meredith doesn't want to expend.
You want to talk about the husband?
She doesn't want to expend her energy towards Whitney because it's not as safe from a viewer standpoint. Right? Don't you think a little bit? I mean, look, I'm curious to see. Maybe I'm wrong, but.
Wait, so say that again. You're saying it's easier for Meredith to take her anger out on Angie versus Whitney.
Yeah, so that moment that we were teased a little bit, I think leading up to that, it's going to kind of like, I think Angie K showing up to the trip and being there is going to kind of propel and perpetuate and snowball into maybe what we're going to see her talking about the husband.
Sure.
Because I think they're going to be irritated. And I think that Meredith is going to fear really coming after Whitney for inviting her.
Sure.
Like they're going to do this double standard thing where they're going to be like, I get why Whitney invited her because Whitney has good intentions, but Angie K should have known not to show up. Like that's what Meredith does, right? She like always goes after the wrong person. And the argument is,
right.
Well, no. And she lawyers it, right? So it's like, I wonder if that's what it's going to be.
Maybe. We will see.
We'll see.
We will see when we talk about the husbands.
We'll see when we talk about the husband.
But yeah, baby, supersized. And it was a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
Guys, thank you. Did we need an intermission? This episode kind of reminds me of when they sold Titanic on VHS. It was 2 tapes.
Yeah. Well, even if you saw it in the theater back then, you had an intermission.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 VHSs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could split it.
I'm kidding. We're not.
Okay, well, never mind.
Guys.
Wow. I like how Lauren, you know what? This is perfect. Lauren brought up that idea and I thought, we could do that. No, we're not doing that. Okay.
That's what I like to do. I like to build myself up and knock myself down at the same time.
And she takes me with her.
Well, we were talking about attachment issues or attachment styles on our Roni recap, and it tracks for my fearful avoidant attachment style that I.
What does that mean? What's a fearful avoidant?
Oh,
I guess we'll
talk about it off mic.
Okay.
Not because I don't want to talk about it and share it with you guys. Google it and you'll know what my attachment style is. But we'll talk about it. But yeah.
Okay.
it, kind of tracks. I want love, but then I also fear love. You know what I mean? I want to cut down the episode, but they also want it really long. You know? I'm a double bind. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I see you and I accept you.
Thank you. Because that's all that matters. And Monica accepts me for who I am.
I do. I see you and accept you.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us on this 100th episode. You see us and you accept us. We wouldn't be at this 100th episode without you guys listening.
It's always going to be an uphill battle.
I'm always going to try to make it move. Guys.
Somebody's going to have to lose.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
I'm so
wow.
sad.
Wow, what a downer. I was thinking about something so positive and we had to go back to Aaron.
Okay, I'm negative. I'm depressed. I'm depressed. Anyway, guys. Oh my God, not all of my velvet, my couch.
Okay, on that note.
Guys, we gotta go. We prematurely ejaculated. It's just time to get the fuck out of here. I'm embarrassed. Thank you for joining us on this episode of...
Thank you. Reality bites, baby.
Yes.
Sometimes reality sets in and we spill shit, okay?
Well, sometimes reality does bite, and I just spilled my sugar-free Red Bull over my velvet couch. Thank you for joining us.
Like and subscribe and buy us another Red Bull and another couch.
Yeah, guys, donate a cocky. And it's not a one-size-fits-all, so you can donate $5, $10, $15.
Yes, we love you.
As we learned at the beginning of this episode, sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get.
Yep. All right,
guys, thank you for joining us. Like, subscribe, 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star review, whatever you'd like. Thank you for accepting my voice in this dire strait of vocal fry.
Take care of yourself. Bye.
Bye.